Hello traders, welcome to the weekly outlook and setups volume 246. Iliya here. It's time to have a look at the markets, how they developed this week, what kind of opportunities we had, and most importantly, what we can expect for the upcoming week. So this is the end of June, and I do believe we're right now starting quarter 3. So we have to be making a very big reflection of our trading performance, what we learned, what mistakes we did, what we can improve on, what is our current situation, perform a little bit of a reality check, and make sure, of course, to keep going forward as strong as ever. Now, the first week of a brand new month, NFP week, a lot of news, a lot of uncertainty. It is going to be tricky. So get prepared to be patient, get prepared for some volatility. Of course, let's dive into the markets. Firstly, have a look at the economic calendar, frame the trading week, and then, as you know, go to the charts. All right, let's have a look at the economic calendar, which looks super busy. So on Monday, we are having here a German CPI for the euro. So that could definitely bring in some volume on the euro, together with manufacturing PMI. Now, PMIs nowadays, they tend to be very volatile. So I would definitely be curious to see what happens on Monday. It could also be tradable, but just keep in mind, PMIs, usually it's very nice to wait for them to come out and then look to trade afterwards, because it tends to create some massive wicks as well. It tends to give you maybe slippage if you have a stop loss. Not good. So Monday, kind of a 50-50 day. I usually always try my best to let Mondays develop, because Monday is like London session during the day. It's uncertain. You don't know where it's going to go. But then as the week develops and as the day develops, you start getting more clarity about what the market is doing and where it potentially wants to go. So on Tuesday, we also have Euro CPI, extremely important. So absolutely not trading on Monday, because we have a CPI on Tuesday. And then after this news release, we can definitely trade. Then we have a speech from Lagarde and Powell at the same time. Man, this looks scary. And then we have job openings here. So Tuesday absolutely looks volatile, definitely tradable. Wednesday, retail sales for the Aussie and a lot of USD news. Unemployment claims, non-farm employment change. This is similar to NFP, but it's not NFP. ADP, I'm not sure what it was, a preliminary or something, not sure. But important news release. And then services PMI. So we have the manufacturing PMI here, and then we have a services PMI. Both of them are super volatile. Just keep that in mind. They always come out a little bit late during the day. Another speech from Lagarde, FOMC meeting minutes. That is not important because it's just the minutes. It's not an actual FOMC meeting. Thursday, Swiss franc CPI for trading Swiss franc. Watch out. Elections for the pound and bank holiday for the US. So Thursday to me looks like a skippable day. Firstly, because it's the day before NFP. So it's going to consolidate. And secondly, because it's a bank holiday. So to me, the main focus for me will potentially go to be trading on Tuesday and Wednesday, provided that we get the setup. And then on Friday after NFP. That's it. So that's my plan. Monday, 50-50. If you get really something really clear, potentially during late New York, could be possible. But to me, the highest probabilities are going to be Tuesday and Wednesday, and then potentially Friday after NFP. A lot of news, a lot of PMIs, NFP as well, CPIs also for the euro, a lot of we have speeches from Powell as well, so looks rather scary. So again, make sure that you navigate well the markets into this next week and trade safe. All right, here we are back at the DXY. Now, this monthly candle is going to actually close right now, and we're going to be having the new candle already printing next week. So again, we keep repeating this, but we're coming from a sweep of the previous monthly low. And then to me, the logical liquidity target is immediately this high. And then together with this very macro, very big high. Now, of course, we can also explore the quarterly time frame. Yes, I'm correct. So we're having also a very nice quarterly candle. And to me, it just looks like this is a very good target here. It's also quarterly swing high, monthly swing high. I am overall bullish on the dollar right now, until of course price proves it otherwise. Now, there is a big detail about this week, is that it's getting a little bit uncertain, and we could be having potentially two outcomes. We're either going to start popping towards that weekly liquidity, or we're either going to come down to rebalance this weekly imbalance and then potentially start popping towards this weekly liquidity. Now, to me, it doesn't make a lot of sense for the market to push all the way down and then to start pushing all the way up. If you think about the market efficiency, because the market always looks to be efficient, it doesn't make a lot of sense to be doing this. However, if we have some very big news, maybe some very big wicks, it could definitely do that. So I want you to keep this weekly imbalance on your charts because it's a very good reference point and the market could definitely pull back all the way down there. And why I think this could also happen is because then usually when you have a weekly imbalance, the only thing to then stop the market from reaching that weekly imbalance is if we have something on the daily. And if you see last week, we actually had this daily imbalance here that caused the market to push higher. But it caused it to push higher, but then it failed to make a new daily bullish imbalance. And right now, is there something to potentially push price higher? Not really. Which makes me think that once again, this scenario here, having actually the first week of July being bearish, is very likely. So I don't want to be calling shorts, but just keep your mind open. There is nothing on the daily to potentially stop price and push it higher. Then we drop to the volatile time frame, and this is where I'm just gonna say we have to wait, because if you just look at it objectively, it's like since we reached that very important drawn liquidity like this high here, that pretty much the trades that were developing this week was this overall bullish move, which was absolutely incredible. Make sure to check out my trading status breakdown as well. But right now, then since Wednesday all the way until Friday, not the best. Not the best. We actually had here, you see a bearish imbalance, tapped, tried to push, failed, bullish imbalance, failed. So right now it is directionless. This is a very nice liquidity point here. The market failed to reach out this liquidity point. So you can see here we're stuck in a consolidation. So looking at this DXY right now, it needs time. So I am definitely going to let Monday play out. And again, guys, we just have to wait for the market to show us its hand and show us where it wants to go. Is it going to start breaking below these lows and printing hourly bearish imbalances? Then that could mean potentially that the hourly time frame is guiding us. It's pointing the direction towards that weekly zone. But is the hourly time frame going to start popping higher, breaking highs and making bullish imbalances? Well, that's going to mean it's going to drive us potentially to that weekly liquidity. And why am I focusing on the hourly time frame? Well, because on the daily there is nothing right now that I can refer to. Okay, so I refer to the hourly time frame, which is going to give you information a little bit faster than the daily. So rather strange analysis right here. You might say, all right, you just forecasted the two directions. No, I'm not forecasting anything. I'm just telling you, wait to see what the market is going to do and then flow with it. Because again, right now, it just doesn't make sense to forecast where it could potentially go. So let's just wait for Monday and see where it goes. All right, Euro USD. Firstly, make sure to check out my trade setups recap. I'm gonna leave a card right here of my the two trades that I took this week. So looking at the DXY already, I think EU is also going to be a little bit tricky, but overall the same bias. We are taking out that previous monthly high, a very nice monthly bearish candle. First target is going to be this monthly low. Second target is going to be this monthly swing low. And even eventually all the way this low, although this one is a little bit too much further away. Here, the market could push lower from this weekly bearish imbalance, and I really like it. I really like it, which is why I think the DXY could potentially pull back lower to also tap its weekly imbalance. Now, on the weekly time frame, what we also did this week is we swept a weekly swing point. All right, so we've taken weekly liquidity, and when the market takes weekly liquidity, it usually wants to rebalance something on the weekly or on the daily. Do we have anything on the daily? No. All right, which is once again another sign that the market could right now be reaching very well into this weekly imbalance, and I think it will make a lot of sense for the month to open, to tap, and then to expand, and then to close. So that could be potentially the month of July. Already thinking way too further ahead, which is something that I don't like doing because we never know what's going to happen. But of course, you can speculate. So then, of course, dropping onto the hourly time frame, it's not nice. I mean, we had, for example, this bullish imbalance here. That one failed. We have this bearish imbalance here. That one failed. So this is just a sign of a consolidation. This is where I think the market was going on Friday. It failed to reach it, it stopped, and it didn't create any imbalances. So right now, it is once again a little bit clueless. So what I'm gonna say on EU, again, it doesn't matter what I want to see. What matters what could potentially happen and how I'm going to adapt to it. So just want to use the right words and also try to train your mindset, because a lot of you come here and expect forecasts and like really, for example, I had a comment, Iliya, tell me what's gonna happen on NFP, right? NFP is after a week. It's impossible for you to know how the market is gonna play out on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and then say what's gonna happen on Friday, which is 5 days from now, right? So we just flow. So what I would love to see is if the market starts showing me hourly and maybe even hourly signs that it wants to push higher. If this happens, I'm just going to take longs into this weekly zone. That is the overall trade idea that I would love to be trading into the incoming week. If, of course, then the market, similar analysis to the DXY, if the market starts showing me bearish signs, then I would love, of course, to start trading it short towards this liquidity point. So you can see I have two outlooks. And whatever the market does, I'm going to flow with it. If the market continues to chop, I'm not going to trade. That's the third outcome. All right. So that's your USD. I am more inclined towards bullishness because I really do think, based on the new monthly opening, it will be very nice for the monthly candle to make a wick up. Right. So imagine the next monthly candle opening, pushing up, and then rejecting down, and then potentially turning into a candle that looks something like this. This is how I would imagine next month to go. You can see usually the monthly candles, they make a wick up, push down, make a wick up, push down, right? Make a wick up, push down. So this is what I potentially want to see, which I think for the first week, the first NFP week of the month, it's gonna be very nice. So let's see. GU is next on the list. Let's have a look. Also sweeping that previous monthly high. Let's just, of course, mark it out. That previous monthly high is very likely going to be some sort of a weekly high. Not really. So what GU was doing, it was tapping into this weekly bullish imbalance, but you can see it tapped it this week, it tapped it that week, and it tapped it this week. So usually to me, imbalances, they get taken as soon as they get topped, right? So if the market was going to go higher, it should have gone higher from here, and then the market to potentially continue higher towards that high. This thing failing to happen makes me think that also it's a little bit more bearish. Now, I still will mark this guy. That is a weekly demand zone. That's a very nice base with a rally, with an imbalance. Order block, demand zone, whatever you like to call it, doesn't really matter. So this weekly imbalance to me is already kind of invalidated. I wouldn't look at it, but this line here, it's potentially where the market could find support. So if you want to trade into it, that's all right. If you want to trade from it bullish, that's all right. But of course, we do have to see the confluences. Now, G was quite bearish. You can see a very nice overall bearish order flow. Daily imbalance here, held. Daily imbalance here, held. And right now, it failed to form another daily bearish imbalance. So that's not nice. It took daily liquidity here. So we just mark it out, daily liquidity. And then since then, it didn't make a new bearish imbalance. And it chopped in the last 2 days of last week. 4-hourly time frame once again. So GU needs time. GU just needs time. The trades were done. Beautiful bearish move from a daily imbalance. Beautiful bearish move from a daily imbalance. Right now it just starts chopping. All right. So I don't see what we could be doing right here. It could develop in numerous ways. It could pull back. It could push into that demand zone and then maybe start reacting. It could start pushing higher. This doesn't have anything on the weekly, which of course we have like on the DXY and EU. So to me, this one, I don't even have like a draw on liquidity, something to potentially target. So it's rather unclear, right? This low, it's good for liquidity. This high also is good for liquidity, but then again, you have to wait for the 4-hourly time frame to show you its hand and show you where it wants to go. No imbalances whatsoever. So since pretty much Thursday opened here, we didn't form a single 4-hourly imbalance. So GU to me, not clear. I am going to definitely wait on it. Aussie dollar, really good pair, but it was an extremely choppy month. You can see this month is closing and we didn't move at all. We didn't take out the previous monthly high. We didn't do anything. So a pure consolidation this month. And if you just take, for example, the monthly candle like that, you're gonna see that on the weekly time frame we are just chopping around. And if you see this on the weekly, I mean, a consolidation on the weekly like this is absolutely, it doesn't even make sense to be dropping to the daily, because then the daily is this large, massive, enormous, ugly consolidation. And then not to say that you're gonna be getting small consolidations within big consolidations, and you are just going to get messed up. Okay, so Aussie dollar, I am just going to say again, brand new month. Let's just wait. Let's just wait for this one to break this high on the weekly and just show us where it wants to go, right? So here to the left, for example, I see this weekly area that the market could target. I still remember that here below we have a very small weekly bullish imbalance. This is where also the market could go, but again, we have zero signs, absolutely zero, where it wants to go. Here on the daily, like bearish, then bullish, then bearish, then bullish. This is just a consolidation. It's just a consolidation. Now here, we swept this daily swing low, and right now we're potentially headed for that swing high. But this is just me forcing trade ideas. This is just not nice, not nice. And yes, of course, you can say, all right, forward bullish imbalance here. We got a very nice liquidation of this daily low, forward bullish. There is the target. If we do get something like this, could be nice. That is definitely a viable trade idea, but is this a setup that you would take over and over and over again and put risk on, keeping into account what kind of consolidation we're trading into, right? I don't think so. So that's Aussie dollar. I definitely haven't traded Aussie dollar for a very long time, simply because it's chopping. So when it starts moving, when it starts actually developing nicely, and looking at AU, like if you just, sometimes you gotta zoom out a little bit, you can see it does have periods of just like doing nothing. Like here, for example, that's a very long period here. That's 76 days, right? What is it? 30, yeah, around 2 months and a half, not doing anything. But then look at this, another 2 months of a very nice bullish leg. All right, so be aware of these consolidations and just step aside. And when the market starts moving, you're gonna be there, you're gonna catch the moves. For now, Aussie dollar definitely not good. Let's hope it's gonna start picking up direction into this incoming month. NZUSD, well, rather similar to the Aussie, but not as much. This one at least took out the previous monthly high and actually printed a bearish candle. It did not make a new bullish imbalance, which is kind of a bearish signal, but still doesn't tell me a lot on the monthly. Dropping onto the weekly, so what is very important here for NZUSD is that it just freshly tapped a weekly bullish imbalance after consolidating for a very long time. So this weekly bullish imbalance can be a cause for the market to, of course, go higher. So a rather interesting opportunity here on NZUSD to potentially look for. Dropping onto the daily time frame, you can see on the daily, there is absolutely nothing to potentially stop price from blasting higher. And why am I saying this is because I mainly look at imbalances. We don't have an imbalance here, not here. The only thing we had was here, but this one is already taken and already did its job. All right, so the only thing we have here is highs like this, right? And all the way up here. So if this one actually goes higher, if it goes long, I do think NZUSD could be a very nice pair. Now on the weekly time frame, on the forward time frame, we tried to push up here, still ran lower, and right now we are once again trying to push up with this forward bullish imbalance. But again, order flow is established when you have the trend change and when you have potentially another order flow range created, or another valid range, or whatever structure range, like it's pretty much all the same, right? So this is what an order flow shift looks like. Here, the market was still bearish, lower high, lower low. It just made a lower high, right? Broke lower, right now once again tries to shift. So if we have, for example, something like this, that would to me start signifying that we are actually getting that order flow shift. So be patient with it, but if eventually it starts turning bullish, and even if you start getting daily bullish imbalances, if all the time frames start pointing out higher, I think it's gonna be nice, because we have all of these flat highs to take right here, and the market has very little resistance here to the left to potentially stop it. So it could turn into a very big long trade, I'm definitely going to keep an eye on NZUSD. Of course, we have to ensure that there is some sort of news as well. So of course, let's monitor it. It does look a lot better than Aussie dollar. Just honest here. All right, let's have a look at gold. So on gold, we're closing also with an inside bar on the monthly time frame, which is great. So we can be expecting a breakout into next month, into next weeks. I am still looking for that monthly bullish imbalance to get tapped, because we very rarely get a monthly bullish imbalance or a monthly imbalance. And one can act, of course, as a drawn liquidity, which means that this is where the market could potentially be going next. And also it can act as an overall point of interest to potentially push price higher. So I really like this one monthly imbalance. Also on the quarterly time frame, this is also very interesting, but also we are having a quarterly bullish imbalance. So that could be somewhere where the market could also potentially reach a little bit lower than that monthly. So keep these things in mind. And then on the weekly time frame, it's just choppy. These couple of weeks, it's choppy. What is it waiting for? Is it waiting for NFP this week? Is it waiting for a brand new month? Probably, but nothing to tell me on the weekly time frame. Then dropping onto the daily time frame also as well. Like when it comes to hard time frame analysis on gold, it's very choppy. Just it's choppy. Like since it made this bearish leg, very nicely pointing us towards that monthly imbalance, and then it just stopped moving. Very strange. It gave us some short signals once again, but then it again stops moving. So to me, this is a very clear target. To me, the monthly bullish imbalance is also a very clear target, but we are somehow failing to reach that. So it's waiting for something, right? It's waiting for something. It's cooking, right? We took out that very recent daily swing high and we rejected. So on the hourly time frame, we can see we had this hourly zone. There was a very nice long trade that my community took on Friday, driving towards this daily high. I actually called this one in the morning analysis, and then I had a couple of members capitalize on this one. It was a hourly zone, and then we also had an hourly zone right here. So the trade was taken roughly from there, taking it into that daily zone. Lovely trade right here. But again, yeah, it's one of those, for example, we have 3 trading approaches. One is like a swing, one is day trade, one is scalp. This one was more taking towards the scalp slash intraday approach, right? So right now we have taken this daily liquidity, and again, similar to, for example, Euro USD and the DXY, we have to wait and see what the market's next hand is. Is it going to start printing bearishness here to show us that it wants to go lower? Great, I'm gonna short it. Is it going to start printing bullishness to show us that it wants to go higher? I'm gonna go long. Because currently, there is no bias. I don't know, I don't have anything to work with to potentially tell you this is where I think the market's going to go next. Right? I don't know. So in order for me to know, I need just more price action. And I only take trades. So for example, this month I've taken, I think, 4 trades. And that is 2 wins or 3 wins and 1 break even or something like that. All right. And this is very little trades, right? But it's profitable. And I do so little trades because I only trade when it's like shouting at me, hey, Iliya, take me, I am clear, that's it, right? The setup is just there, it's clear, I know where it goes, and then just my job is to just find an entry and execute, right? And if you, for example, jump in the market like this right now, where it's sweeping that daily high and it doesn't have anything on the 4H and it doesn't have anything on the daily, and then you drop to the 1H, but you also don't have anything on the 1H, but yet you still try hard to guess where it wants to go, this is where you start taking the losses. All right. And this is what actually keeps you in a losing or a break-even performance. All right. So really trying hard to change that mindset, right? Of having to know what is going to happen next, having to always forecast, right? Instead of just showing up daily. All right. What is the market telling me today? It doesn't tell me anything. Well, goodbye. Coming the next day. All right. What are you telling me today, market? I want to go short. And then you pretty much go short. All right. Enough of the rant. No bias on gold. I am looking for 4 hourly imbalances. As simple as that to potentially guide me on where he wants to go. But if you want my overall outlook and kind of a speculative bias, I think this monthly bullish imbalance could potentially get reached this month because I don't think the upside could be supported by not taking any liquidity. And there is a lot of liquidity generated here. So I really do think a potential bearish move is due on gold. Well, USD/JPY just keeps rocking a very nice monthly candle closure, body close above this high, which is a very bullish indication. On the weekly time frame, we are forming this weekly bullish imbalance, but we also took out this liquidity. So when weekly liquidity like this is taken, is this monthly? Yeah, it's also monthly and weekly liquidity, right? I usually require from the market to pull back into a weekly zone, which we have. However, once again, if there is something to stop it on the daily, then of course we have to consider that. And as you drop to the daily time frame, you can see that we just had this daily bullish imbalance that got tapped on Friday and already kind of did its job. It already took out this high. So currently on UJ, once again, I hate to say it because I've said it on a lot of pairs this week, we have to wait. We have to wait because the daily zone is right now filled. So if the market will go higher from something, it's then gonna start printing hourly bullishness. But if it does not print hourly bullishness like that to go higher, this is when I'm gonna go long. It will start printing hourly bearishness, and this hourly bearishness is potentially going to guide us into this weekly zone. All right, because once again, we have taken monthly swing high, which is also a weekly swing high. So usually in situations like this, I require for the market to rebalance a similar time frame. So either monthly or weekly. We don't have anything on the monthly, so I'm going to be looking for a weekly rebalance, which is this weekly bullish imbalance here. The only thing to stop price from reaching all the way down there is if we have something on the daily. The daily got tapped, so let's see. Is it going to start following through and printing bullishness, or is it going to fail to follow through and start printing bearishness? And if it starts printing bearishness, to me, this is going to be a great signal that it potentially wants to drive us into that weekly bullish imbalance, which resonates with the DXY. All right, so UJ could be interesting. Of course, let's be patient. Wait for these 4-hourly imbalances and 4-hourly structure to guide you where the market is going next. Well, it looks like it's been a great month for the JPYs. A very nice monthly expansion here on Euro Yen. On the weekly time frame, also taking very important, once again, monthly and weekly liquidity. We are having this tiny weekly bullish imbalance created, and that just suggests that we are overall bullish, which is very nice. And on the daily time frame, we don't have anything to work with right now, which makes it a little bit tricky. So yeah, definitely tricky. We don't have anything on the daily, and then on the hourly time frame, there's a nice long here, and then we have, for example, this forward imbalance. This is the last thing that tapped. The market respected that, took out the high, and right now it's pretty much, once again, it's pretty much done all it did, and right now it's just waiting. Right now it's just waiting. Okay, oh, we actually missed this important detail. There is actually, oh, come on. There is actually a new forward imbalance created off of this, which is always a good sign. So the only thing I have on Euro Yen right now, nothing on the daily, and the hourly time frame is just this guy here. So are we going to pull back into this one and continue going higher? That is one of the outcomes, but similar to UJ, for example, if we start failing and start making bearish zones, we could be in for a very big pullback. Now, will Euro Yen pull back all the way down to that weekly? Not really, because all that the JPYs need is for USD JPY to pull back into its zone, and then they're all gonna start rolling together potentially. Okay, so Euro Yen, I just want you to be aware that a very massive liquidity point has been taken right now, and you might have a week of a consolidation, because even if you think ahead, right now we're having a very nice expansion candle, and this here is a potential weekly invalidation level of a weekly imbalance. So this week can consolidate to make a new weekly bullish imbalance, to then potentially next week tap in and trade higher from. Okay, so I don't think it's a very high probability trade at week to be trading the JPYs, especially EJ, because it doesn't have anything on the daily, and all it has right now is this tiny hourly zone. So I'm definitely going to wait for development, but I think sacrificing 1 week to see if we have a weekly bullish imbalance on EJ is going to be very nice, to then potentially trade a high probability week the week after the incoming one. Oh well, GJ is also rocking for the skies. Monthly time frame, massive bullish candle. Weekly time frame also keeps pushing higher. The last imbalance that we had was this guy here. Got tapped, just keeps pushing higher. No new imbalances are created, unfortunately. Then dropping onto the daily time frame. no daily bullish imbalances as well. So immediately I don't like it. I don't like it. What I would like to see is for the market to pull back potentially and then to start printing some new structure so that I have at least something to target. All right. So I just don't like it. And this one doesn't have anywhere to pull back to. So could it potentially make a weekly bullish imbalance next week? That would be very nice because then the market can pull back into it and continue going higher with a clear target. Right now, it just looks like all-time highs, right? It's tapping into some 2008 zones to the left. Oh, it looks like all-time highs. And when the market is at the highs, you just have to wait for a pullback and then target the old highs. Nothing on the on the daily, and then on the 40 time frame. Yeah, GJ just doesn't look good. I'm just gonna tell you straight on, doesn't look good. In fact, I did like EJ a little bit more. It does look a little bit more structured. This one kind of looks choppy, still going higher, but going higher in a very kind of choppy manner, right? And it offers a setup here and there, but very strange price action. Guys, I'm not a fan of GJ. I don't like it. I'm just going to give this one a whole week to develop, give me some price action, hopefully make some sort of a pullback, so then I have an established high to target later on. GJ, skip. All right, time to look into the indices. SPX monthly time frame, very nice bullish candle closure, making new all-time highs. So when you have all-time highs, it's usually very tricky. And you can see even on this week, for example, it's kind of stopping to develop. Why? Well, because it's all-time highs, and the market will need to make some sort of a pullback in order to then make another bullish move, right? So if you keep chasing all-time highs, the probability usually gets a little bit lower. So for example, here it made all-time highs, but then it pulled back into the weekly bullish imbalance, and then it had a clear high to target, right? So this is what I'm looking for pretty much for this month. We're having this very beautiful weekly bullish imbalance. So wait for the market to pull back into that and then target new all-time highs. As simple as that. Now, if you want to scalp it, right, you can see, whoa, actually on Friday, we liquidated all-time highs and printed a very nice bearish candle. So there is nothing to stop price right now for reaching this weekly zone. So if you start getting hourly bearish imbalances and structure, which we kind of got, yeah, it's so small, you don't even see it probably. If you start getting like 4-hourly and 1-hourly time frames to show you where that the market wants to go towards that weekly zone, I think it could be a good kind of a counter trend idea. Tap into this weekly zone, and then as it taps this weekly zone, we just wait to see what's next. Is it going to pull back even further? Is it going to start rejecting and potentially pushing higher? We have to see, okay? But this is my short-term outlook on SPX, looking for shorts towards that weekly zone. Again, I don't want to do counter trend, so probably I'm not going to be trading it. But if I was to say what's going to happen on SPX and just throw my forecast, this is what it would look like. Nasdaq also super expansive, going into the highs, massive monthly bullish candle. Now, once again, we keep kind of staying at all-time highs, and the very interesting thing about Nasdaq is, unlike SPX, which we just covered, and we potentially forecasted it could be going towards that weekly bullish imbalance, Nasdaq already did it. So there is, of course, it could pull back a little bit lower towards, for example, this candle here, this very nice demand zone. So is it going to push higher from this weekly zone? Well, it already did. It already tapped into the weekly. And this week on Monday it tapped, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, it tries to push up. There was this daily zone here to potentially stop it, right? It tries to reach all-time highs. It failed to reach all-time highs and massively rejected on Friday. Oh, Nasdaq is tricky. So, and no hourly imbalances right now. So I would say for Nasdaq, it's definitely right now a little bit tricky, and I would absolutely give it some time. The market tapped the weekly. It tries to push up, and right now so far it's failing to push up to take out all-time highs. What does that mean? Is that this first tap of that weekly bullish imbalance could actually be a weak low. So if right now, once again, the 1-hourly and the 4-hourly time frame start making bearish imbalances and paving a way towards that low, this is what I would be taking, shorts into this weak low. And then as this weak low is taken, which is very likely when for example, SPX will tap into its weekly bullish imbalance, then it's of course adaptation time and we have to wait and see what is next. So that is Nasdaq. Not a very huge fan of it right now. So I would say be careful, wait for more confidences and wait for more signs. A very volatile week ahead. We have speeches from Powell, we have NFP, we have PMIs, pretty much PMIs. So be careful and wait for clear signs, wait for clear 4-hourly structure and 4-hourly imbalances, because right now the direction is definitely not as clear as we like it to be. Let's have a look at the black sheep of the indices, US 30, which is usually not moving how the others are moving. Inside bar on the monthly, so interesting on overall consolidation this month. On the weekly time frame, you can clearly see it, right? It didn't do as much. It did have this weekly bearish imbalance, but this one got tapped here, here, and here. So already invalidated. Doesn't tell me anything, really. Nothing to extract from the weekly. It swept the previous weekly high. Very nice rejection, overall doji. Then dropping onto the daily time frame, it was reacting from this daily bullish imbalance here. 1, 2, 3 days, and then the 5th day came in to sweep this low. And is it going to right now attack the high? Damn, US 30 is just not clear. I always find it hard to analyze US 30. Very, very rarely it kind of gives a clear setup. Right now, I have no idea what it's doing. And yeah, why? Well, because it's consolidating. If you even have a look on the monthly candle, like it's 130 points, right? And usually if you compare that to all the rest of the moves that are happening, this is a relatively slow month overall, which means that the weekly time frame is going to be a consolidation, which means that the daily time frame is not going to make any sense at all. All right. So that's US 30. I'm not even going to drop to the 4-hourly time frame because, yeah. So guys, US 30 definitely out of my list. SPX so far from the indices has the cleanest bias. All right, going back full circle. Now the DXY, we're having on EU and on the DXY this beautiful weekly imbalance that I think could potentially get reached. Now the very big highlight for getting into next week is going to be wait for the 4-hourly time frame to show you where the market wants to go next. I am looking for the 4-hourly to start printing potentially bearish imbalances to point me towards that weekly zone, which means that Euro USD is going to print bullish imbalances to point me towards that weekly zone. So this is my main trade idea going into next week. Now, of course, if the market starts printing bullish imbalances, which means bearish imbalances on EU, then I'm gonna targeting the opposing liquidity areas down there. GBP USD, not the cleanest. I do like EU a lot more right now. GU needs a little bit of time. It doesn't have anything on the daily, nothing on the weekly as well, nothing on the 4-hourly even. We gotta wait. Aussie dollar, it's a very big consolidation. So on this one, I am just looking for something to happen. All right. NZUSD tapping into a fresh weekly zone. Nothing to potentially stop it bearish on the daily. So if this one turns into a very nice bullish order flow on the 4-hourly time frame, I do believe it can turn into a very nice long, but it's gonna take time. And firstly, I really want to confirm that this one actually wants to go higher. So I'm gonna be looking for the 4-hourly time frame to fully shift, and even for the daily time frame to start showing me bullish signs. Gold, I am forecasting overall this monthly bullish imbalance, but in order to get there once again, we need to get the signs. We need to see the 4-hourly time frame to start pointing towards that monthly zone. So far, it's kind of consolidative on the daily, so the daily time frame is absolutely choppy. You can see we are overall stuck kind of in an overall consolidation, and you can even see like how compressed it tends to get. So not the best daily price action, but of course you can always find scalps on the lower time frame. But personally, for my type of trading, I'm looking for 4-hourly imbalances to guide me where the market wants to go. And if I see them bearish, I'm going to be targeting this monthly zone. The JPYs are also very important, especially USD JPY. We're taking massive weekly and monthly swing high, which means that the market will like to rebalance a monthly or a weekly imbalance, right? And we have a beautiful weekly imbalance here on USD JPY. So are we going to reach all the way down? How do we know if it's going to go there? Once again, the 4-hourly. Are we going to start pointing lower? Then we're going to go short. Is the market going to start rocking higher? Then we're going to go long. Currently, it's tapping within a daily bullish imbalance. So let's see how it wants to go. Euro JPY, very similar to UJ. It does have a weekly bullish imbalance, but it can also consolidate this week in order to make a weekly bullish imbalance here and then to potentially trade from that next week. So I'm going to be patient with EJ if I was trading it. GJ is a skip. I don't like it right now. It doesn't have any imbalances. It's getting a little bit corrective, a little bit choppy. I don't like it. SPX is the best out of the indices because we swept the all-time highs. Nasdaq did not sweep it. All right. SPX has a very clear weekly bullish imbalance to reach out for. Nasdaq already tapped it. So I think SPX for a short-term short on the volatile time frame here could be a very nice trade idea, which means that Nasdaq could also follow through a little bit bearish to take out this weak weekly reaction here. So overall short bias on the main indices, and then US 30 is skip. All right. So guys, let me know how did you perform this week. Let me know if you finished the month very strong, because it was actually a very lovely week this week. Make sure to check out my trading setups breakdown. Let me know what are your favorite pairs going into next week. Let me know what you're going to be looking to trade. Let me know how pretty much the week went for you, and I'm going to talk to you on the next video. Take care.